Hello and welcome to Benz Edition. The last time I did a maintenance on my M112 CLK was more than 2 years ago. I have been working on that bad boy for a while, but now again it's time for my CLK. And the type of maintenance this time is different. It's very important. I show you in few seconds. So I have been noticing from 2 months ago that inside my car doesn't smell good at all. So it smells like burnt oil after 10 minutes of driving. So the last time I replaced the valve cover gasket on this engine was more than 2 years ago. And I have had no issue since then at all, since 2 months ago. And then also there is other issue. The PCV vacuum lines and crankcase ventilation lines are not in good shape. I also noticed that there is one other very important issue that is causing all sorts of problems with my M112 engine that I will explain in few minutes. Okay guys, please note that this video has chapters. Please skip the sections that you don't need or you already know. So super important for a healthy, good running engine with nice and healthy idle speed and idle quality is the PCV valves and crankcase ventilation system and the lines in general. And M112 and M113 engines are very sensitive to these services. So here is the problem. You can see on exhaust there is oil leak trace, and that oil drops from the breather valve cover as well as the rocker cover gasket. So the oil drops on the exhaust manifold and the smell and the burning oil comes to the cabin and it just creates a very bad atmosphere and very bad driving condition. And I have the similar problem, as you can see on the left hand side exhaust manifold. There is a trace of oil. Also, the oil leaking from valve cover gasket can end up in the spark plug hose, and it can also create a gradual and constant smell of oil while evaporating in the spark plug groove. So today I have 3 missions actually to replace all the ventilations and PCV lines. I'm also going to replace the valve cover gaskets. A few weeks ago, I used the adhesive to make the gasket for the breather valve, so I'm not going to do this again. But I'm going to do another check, which is very important for M112 and M113 engine. There are 4 pieces of tube you will need for the complete replacement of M112 engine and crankcase ventilation lines. There's one piece from here to here, and there's one piece from there to here. There's a T-split here. There's also one here going back to the other side of the engine to the breather valve cover. There is also one crankcase ventilation from here that goes to the underneath of airflow meter. Here are the 4 pieces of tubing that you will need. This is the first piece, the second piece, which is the ventilation piece, this straight piece, and this curvy piece. So 4 all in all. Okay, I have a separate video on replacement of the valve cover. I'm not going to include many details about this. I'm going to remove all the coil packs. I'm going to take off all the plugs, and I'm going to take off the valve cover to replace the valve cover gasket as well. Also, the last time I replaced the valve cover gaskets, I couldn't find a good quality valve cover gasket. This time I have purchased these from USA and I'm going to replace it. Hopefully it's going to be a much better quality and will last for a much more longer time than 2 years. packs are out, to save your time because the wire length are different, just put them in right sequence so you can put them back as they came out. Okay, next I'm going to use number 17 to remove the fuel line. There'll be a little spill of petrol. Here's the first valve cover, and as you can see, the gasket's still very soft and nice, and inside the valve covers are very clean. That's the way it should be. That's why I have been regularly changing the oil. Okay, here I can see the trace of oil leaking outside of the gasket. So this is the problematic area. Okay, if you see these white condensation plus oil, this means that my CLK hasn't actually moved a lot. So the commute has been pretty much past few months to the train station, which is just 3 kilometers down the road. So it hasn't had the opportunity to remove all these condensation from the engine. So that's why you see all these milkshake stuff. That's the reason that the commute for my CLK has been very short. Okay, and here let's have a look at the engine itself. As you can see, the drop on exhaust manifold shows how bad my rocker cover gasket has been, but on the bright side, inside the engine is very clean, although it probably needs another oil change very soon. And this is the other side as well. You can see the trace of oil leaking on the exhaust manifold as well, and that's what is causing all the bad smell inside the cabin. And here is the third problem that I had. The last time I removed one of my spark plugs from my number 1 spark plug, I noticed that the spark plug was so loose. I even didn't need any spanner to remove that spark plug. So I replaced my spark plugs 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, and I torqued them to 25 Newton meter. But I realized that my spark plugs were pretty loose. So this is super important. I have had many issues with this engine past few months, and now I'm going to torque my spark plugs again because my spark plugs are still in good shape. They only have 5,000 kilometers on them. Okay, as I said, the spark plug torque setting for M112 and M113 engine is 25 Newton meter. So pretty much all of my spark plugs except the last one at the end were loose by maybe 1 turn. I'm going to repeat that for the left hand side of the engine. Spark plugs are all done to the factory torque setting, which is 25 Newton meter, and I'm happy. As you can see, surrounding of the rocker cover where the gasket is going to sit is very clean. I'm going to clean it again, and I'm going to put back the rocker covers with the new gaskets on. But before that, I'm going to replace all these brittle lines. As you can see, they are so brittle and they are not in a very good shape. Okay, to make it easier to replace all these old PCV lines, I'm going to remove my airflow meter. That gives me a lot of room on the back to work on the PCV lines and remove them. And with the airflow meter removed, you will have a lot of room and space over here to access and remove these PCV lines. You may want using a cutter Carefully and slowly cut this side of the PCV line because these are very brittle, so you can easily remove them after cutting them at that T-section port. And in order to not make a mistake, I'm going to replace this right away without even removing the second one. Okay, use a little lube the tube and put it back on the T port easily. Looking at this brand new tube, you will see that it's very flexible and soft. Okay, here is the next one. In order to remove it, just pull it outside a bit and cut this section because removing them even is a pain in the neck. Here is the part number to this little tube. That's 112 018 0382. And here is the part number for the other one, A112 018 0182. Okay, and here is the third one, which sits just right behind the airflow meter. The part number for this one is A112 018 0282. All three PCV lines were replaced now. The last one is this thicker one, which goes right underneath the airflow meter, as you can see over there. The last one, which is out, and the part number is 112 018 0482. Okay, all four lines are now replaced. As you can see, I'm going to put back the airflow meter. I'm going to put back the valve cover gaskets. Okay, next I'm going to clean the manifold from all the old oils and use a wire brush on drill to clean it and make it shiny again. So next time my rocker cover gasket starts leaking, I will realize straight away. Okay, this side is much cleaner using a wire brush. I'm going to clean the other side. Cover area is clean, the manifold is almost clean, and my brand new gaskets for rocker covers are ready. The tubes are in place and everything is ready for me to put everything back. Brand new PCV lines installed, retorqued my spark plugs, which I had issues with them, and finally I also replaced my rocker cover gasket, which was leaking and causing all these smells. So what I have done so far, past 2-3 months, I have replaced the camshaft sensor, I have replaced the crankshaft sensor, I have replaced the airflow meter, and I have replaced, as I said, the gasket, retorqued my spark plugs. I have also replaced the reservoir for my steering pump. I'm only one engine oil change away to almost complete a cycle of full servicing. So pretty much I think My M112 engine CLK 320 is very up to date in terms of servicing. Today, I believe I have done like $500 saving. If I had to go to a mechanic, he would probably charge me $500 because this almost took 3 to 4 hours of my time without even replacing the spark plugs, only by retorquing them. So guys, if you have burnt oil smell coming into your cabin, I highly recommend you to first replace your rocker cover gaskets with a very good quality rocker cover gasket. Don't go the cheap way, don't go the shortcut, just replace it with the best possible and quality rocker cover gasket as you can, and replace the PCV and crank ventilation hoses. That will pay off. Also check your spark plugs, making sure they are not loose. I let the engine run for 20 minutes and there was no smoke coming out of the engine bay anymore. So you need to probably clean the splash tray as well, because splash tray can contain oil and grease, and then that will evaporate from the heat of the catalytic converter and the exhaust. So you need to give the exhaust and the engine to evaporate all the previous oil coming from the rocker cover gasket. And now the project is done. Thank you so much for watching this long video. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and comment and give me your feedback, and have a great day.